how are you? How's everyone doing? Let's start with the news about what's happening around the world, taking a look at a rather curious image. I would honestly swear it's AI, but according to what they say, and even after running it through filters, it's not AI. Honestly, I hadn't seen crocodiles before, so I have my doubts, but Grook says no. You know, Grook is the one in charge of checking if things are AI or not. And Grook says it's not AI. Well, those who know about crocodiles, please let us know if they upload crocodile content to trigger another nightmare. Another thing that also catches my attention, because it sounds really interesting, when they tell you that your Amazon package can arrive by air. I mean, drones show up. I mean, drones come and they just drop the package there for you. But they're not really little drones. They're actually pretty big drones. And what if you live in an area like, I don't know, Baja California, or even here in Monterrey, certain areas, Coahuila, you know, where there are dusty areas, really dusty, right? With sand, with dirt. Just think about it. How are they going to leave a package there? Look. There's the drone. It dropped the package there. And there goes the Honda drone. It's gone. And to him and the neighbors, there's the package, there's the package. Look, listen to this. What the fuck? No, I mean, it sounded nice, but several neighbors were recording from different angles. So, because, well, obviously it covers everything up if someone had, I don't know, clothes around there or whatever. You could imagine, like, well, the point is that he made a big fuss over such a tiny little package, right? Actually, the one receiving the package is really surprised too, you know, because of the fuss. And well, another image that also catches your attention is this one. What happened there?
We're seeing some bear cubs in the Sierra Alta neighborhood of Monterrey, Nuevo León. That's nice. We've mentioned to you that lately it's super common to see bears. This is a mother bear with 3 cubs. So did someone decide to sit down and nurse the cubs while she was celebrating her Mother's Day?
Wow, so that's how she celebrated Mother's Day. No, feeding them on the model.
On the model, but not just from any random area. She sounds pretty well off. I'm not just any bear.
They're the good ones. Well, that's the thing. And also, well, it shows, well, this one that's like a museum, right?
That's a real round of applause for the person who did this. This is a museum that basically documents the entire relationship between Trump and Epstein. Dates files. There are 3,430 books and 3.55 million pages of some of the documents from the Epstein case and the connection with Trump. And about the relationship, well, the museum is called the Mustrom Epstein Memorial Reading Room.
Well, I mean, just so it doesn't get forgotten, this whole case, which is extremely dark and has Trump in check. And well, there's nothing left to reveal, right? There's nothing left to declassify now or any mess to get into, so people forget about this. But, well, at least the museum will try to make sure this keeps being remembered, right? Obviously, also, well, another image that stands out is this one, right? Let's see if I can put it here as you've been looking at it.
Here we're seeing a street in Bakhmut before the war and after the war. The top is obviously before, and the bottom is how it is up to now at this moment.
Before the war, same street. This is over there in Ukraine. Exactly in Ukraine. Look, this is how Ukraine was before, at least in this area. And this is how it is right now at this moment. This is in the eastern part of Ukraine in Bakhmut.
An area that was really heavily fought over by the Wagner Group. I don't know if you remember, it was a horrible battle that lasted for months where literally the Ukrainians said that the Wagner Group members looked like zombies. I mean, we kill them and they come back. It was just a horrible thing.
And, well, we're still waiting to see what happens with this Tokyo case, because there was also a bit of paranoia since suddenly some kind of chemical showed up, something like that. 20 ambulances arrive, firefighters, everything shows up there in Tokyo, because at the subway stop, which by the way is very touristy, suddenly some chemical gets released and suddenly people start feeling sick. According to what they say, some 13 people went straight to the hospital. And well, obviously, all the alarms were set off to figure out what this situation was about, a topic we'll be looking at later on. In the meantime, let's move on to other important matters. Look, there's movement. Una vez más tremendo esto on the issue del Estrecho de Hormuz, no? In which this is already turning into a complete collapse, where today the United States has diverted at least 61 commercial vessels and immobilized. This is the blockade on these movements that are happening in response to the movements that were seen yesterday, with 130 something boats in this area apparently laying mines. Well, we obviously expect oil prices to go up, for the price of oil to skyrocket, and we're already seeing that happen. Look, let's see if I can pull up the actual price, because it's already shooting up. It closed at 104 on Friday, and it's already at $108, 108.63, and the markets are just opening in Asia. So, well, they still have a few hours, but the thing here is, how are they going to open on this side, right? I mean, if that's how it's opening over there, we have to see how it goes in Europe and then how it goes in America. But it's going to be a complicated Monday, May 11th, because of the oil issue. So Brent, $108, almost reaching 109, right?
Oil? Exactly. It's a problem with no solution, at least for now. I was telling Pepe that Trump found Iran's response to the proposal from the United States unacceptable. Well, Trump had been waiting for it since Friday, obviously just waiting around because Friday, Saturday, and Sunday went by. And what were you saying? The Iranians are presenting it today in Iran. And well, this proposal basically leaves everything the same. Yeah. They don't want all the sanctions lifted. They want to be paid for everything that has been destroyed in Iran. They want to keep control of the Strait of Hormuz. And they don't want to talk about the nuclear issue.
Basically, all the red lines remain the same.
Well, nothing's changed. I don't know if they always send the same thing.
One of the most aggressive naval maneuvers in recent years? No, just about this war, the Strait of Hormuz, the most sensitive maritime passage on the planet. Well, it has generated one. Because we had talked here about 10 ships that blocked in a day. Here, they blocked commercial ships and mobilized 4 more. I mean, does that mean they shot at them, right? We have to remember that they shoot at the rudder or they shoot at the engine, not at the engine room. To immobilize the ships, the CENTCOM would have confirmed that 61 commercial vessels were diverted and another 4 were immobilized as part of this blockade against Iran.
Exactly. Well, Washington stated that the operation aims to ensure compliance with the maritime restrictions that have been imposed on Iranian ports. And that's very important because, well, the idea is that it doesn't, only Europe, Asia, and so on are suffering because of Iran's blockade, but Iran should also suffer from the blockade imposed by the United States. And, well, more than 20 American warships are already participating in this naval mission deployed between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman, including, well, destroyers, drones, reconnaissance planes, aircraft carriers. And, well, one thing that has been surprising is how quiet the Saudis have been. It says that the few attacks that happened at the beginning, because it was almost in the second or third week after the war started in March, it was due to pressure from Iran and nothing else happened. It seems that yes, it was because of pressure and nothing else. They just did it to go through the motions. But after that, they haven't even sent messages or anything.
And you're right. Look at the Houthis. Look, 2 groups are upset about the same thing. No, they don't agree with Iran attacking the Gulf countries. I mean, the Houthis don't get along with everyone. But still, there are suspicions that certain Gulf countries have also been involved in the Yemen issue. It's the same with Gaza, for example. Qatar, specifically Qatar, it's known that there are groups within Qatar that have a good relationship with Hamas. So when Hamas criticizes and tells Iran, we don't agree with you attacking the Gulf countries, well, that caught my attention. And do you notice that Hamas hasn't really done much in any of these operations? Same with the Houthis. I mean, they've barely been seen. Basically, they're notable for their absence, as they say, right? Iran called the United States operations illegal and claims that the blockade threatens the security of international navigation. I mean, obviously, that's what they have to say, clearly, but it's a war. And in the end, they're going to put pressure on each other. A moment ago in the previous broadcast, we talked about the medicine shortage they're dealing with. I mean, they have a food problem, they have a medicine problem. The intelligence reports say they can hold out for 3 months, up to 120 days, right? That was more or less the maximum. Well, they can hold out for about 3 or 4 months. But the thing is, well, the United States doesn't want that. The United States wants to speed up the negotiation. But there's no way. What do you even have to negotiate with if the other side doesn't want to negotiate, right? I mean, and besides, the craziest thing is that your partner, I mean, your main partner in this war, which is Israel, also doesn't want to negotiate. So who are you going to negotiate with? Who do you negotiate with? Exactly. I mean, there's no one to negotiate with. It's really strange, of course, but it's one of those conflicts that the Yemenis don't want to get involved in, and neither do the people from Gaza. ¿Verdad? In any case, Hezbollah is definitely involved in the issue, and the pro-Iranian militias in Iraq, which is in this region, right? I don't know what you think, but it seems to me like, well, it looks like there's nothing else. Isn't it like watching those Game of Thrones episodes as you go along? And like with everything, all the circumstances come together so that the perfect storm happens and things start happening again. Even so, I don't see a way out, you know? Even today, when Pakistan said, no, well, we already got the proposal. And the fact that they sent it directly to Pakistan was already strange. And then when I read it, I can imagine the fit that Trump had when he got the proposal. It was immediately known that there was a supposed call to Netanyahu and that Netanyahu canceled a public event to respond to Trump. And in which, well, supposedly, according to the reports, there was no agreement. Like you said, the nuclear issue is still there, right? I mean,
Nothing changes if we leave the nuclear issue alone and don't discuss it. We're going to lower the level of enrichment and we're going to send part of it to a third country, namely Russia. And what if we need it? If I don't like how I'm treated, I'll bring it back to my country. And we'll talk about this a few days after the war is over.
well, none of that, nothing. Well, nothing. And well, like the interesting images of the day. Here's an image reported by NOAA and the US Weather Service. What are we seeing here? What's going on?
Well, here we are seeing the northernmost city in the United States, which is called, it's a very complicated name, Utqiagvik. They're going to be like this, with the sun on the horizon from 2:57 in the morning until the afternoon, well, until the night. Basically all day, they have sunlight. This will last until August 2nd. Imagine how hard it is to sleep like that. Obviously, you have to have some really intense blackout curtains, because if you don't, you can't sleep. We saw a movie years ago at the theater. I'm not sure if you remember. I think Al Pacino was in it, not Robert De Niro. I think he's a police officer who gets sent to a place like that and has to investigate a case, and he can't sleep. I think that girl is in it, the one from $1 Million Baby.
Ajá.
Yes, that's the one.
Que desespera.
Y me saca a little bit of madness because he can't sleep. He's the patient.
Sí.
Quiere...
No, I said Robert De Niro, Al Pacino.
Yes, I said Al Pacino.
Porque, cuidado, because, listen.
I didn't remember it being a place like that. But I do remember that he has insomnia. I mean, he's dealing with insomnia. Like, he has a problem, so he can't sleep. And you see how he tries to solve the case, and he doesn't sleep, and he doesn't sleep. And every time you see him, he's worse. And every time you see him, he's worse. Yes, yes.
I'll tell you the name so you can watch it. It's not one of the best.
It's just that it's only about 20 years old. Oh, yeah. 25 years ago, there were still some really great movies. But anyway, that's it. It's called Insomnia. Yes. But where is it? Where is the story supposed to take place?
Insomnia, set in Alaska. I can't sleep because of the sun and insomnia.
Yeah. I didn't remember that part. That's crazy. I mean, that must be tough, I imagine. And then that just makes it worse. It records it.
Well, yeah, because there's no night, so...
But you die. What's it called? These sleep masks That's it.
And the craziest thing is, who's the crazy one? Who's the crazy one?
The crazy one, I mean, the one I'm investigating is Robin Williams. Robin Williams is the villain. It's so weird to imagine Robin Williams as a villain.
But yeah, like you just can't imagine it, right? No, well, let's move on to other important matters too. Oh yeah, we also have another one that's really crazy because it's another one that's really intense, especially because these are two nuclear armed countries threatening each other, and those are some of the worrying things. No. And it seems like people had forgotten about the war or the conflict with India, but they sent a message, right?
Exactly today, Pakistan sent a warning to India that it will suffer extremely painful consequences if it carries out new attacks. This happened today. The head of the Pakistani army, the Field Marshal, Asim Munir, issued this warning to India, assuring that any future aggression from India will be answered. This happened during an event where they commemorated the first anniversary of an armed conflict they had. Do you remember? In 2025, I remember that we talked about it here. So many wars in such a short time. That was one of the wars that Donald Trump resolved. Do you remember?
It's supposed to be on his list.
Well, from the Rawalpindi headquarters, Munir described this as an unprecedented victory. Another person claims they won something they didn't. But anyway, the so-called Operation Bunja in March, a 4-day clash that started after some terrorist attacks against tourists, which was really intense. It happened in the area. This place is called Kashmir. It's really intense. Is there a video that's current or is it historical? Like the girl who's exercising, are they taking over the government from where? From Singapore. No, not from Singapore. Remind me, Pepe. The one who's exercising is from Singapore.
It's like that. Just like Bangladesh, like the case of Bangladesh.
Like the case of Bangladesh, the one from Kashmir. A guy is on of those trains where people hang off the side. He's recording the video of what he thinks about it. I don't remember if I hadn't said it. Those who hang on like that. Cool. People going from one place to another, from point A to point B. And he's recording that typical video.
Don't say I want to remember.
Son, typical tourist video. And behind him, he's recording himself all smiling. And in the background, you see people getting killed. How is that possible? They're
family, friends, etc. I mean, because, well, I mean...
They're people, they're tourists from India. They're on vacation.
Remember, he's not going alone. If they're eliminating people, it's likely your family, friends, or someone close to you. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because he's taking a selfie.
I mean, and he's smiling, enjoying life, and behind him, people are being taken out.
You know, this is tough, really tough. Because, I mean, they crossed the border to kill tourists. I mean, it's crazy. What's that sport called? It's
a sport.
Yeah, they call it an extreme sport. You're just sitting like this, holding on.
The only extreme part is strapping yourself in properly.
That's the extreme part if you went alone. This extreme, like Chanok used to do or something like that. I don't know. But well, let's see who remembers who. Chanok says, this is rappelling. No, that's going down. That's a sport, yes. That's a sport. That is a sport NG activity, yes. But, well, this Zipline, I was told Zipline, well, what else do we have about Pakistan? India.
Well, it's just that today is the anniversary. And well, they make this threat that India didn't need, the world didn't need, we didn't need at this moment. But that's all. Just to make it clear that if they do it again, well, things are going to get tough.
That it's going to get intense, that they're going to start throwing punches, basically. Right? If I take a...
They asked to fix it and it was done. See what they're saying? Yes.
Yes. Let's move on to other matters. According to reports, the United States and Iran are at war. But in wars, countries that are at war learn. But what China has been doing in the Ukraine-Russia war. In the war, exactly. I mean, China goes and takes notes like diligent students, right? Well, they get involved in all the wars and they're participating in all of them, but not participating in the reason for the war. I mean, they have equipment there, and not just on one side, but on both sides and everything. I mean, take the Arabs as an example. They've already installed some laser systems there, so the Arabs can defend themselves from the Iranians, whom they also... They support everyone on one side and aim at the other, And in the end, well, that's extremely valuable information. According to the experts, the experience of the Chinese, now from a war they're not participating in, has been abundant. What's going on with that?
China is analyzing the US Iran conflict as a military experiment. As Pepe notes, many weapons have been tested there too. Likewise, China is a real time laboratory to study how combat works, which is extremely important. How does Washington fight under pressure, and how do modern defensive systems respond? For example, one point they have taken special note of is the importance of having air defense, which we have already realized. For example, in Russia's case, it has been one of their biggest problems. Chinese experts acknowledge that Iran managed to breach advanced US systems like the Patriot and the THAAD because of the use of these cheap drones and less sophisticated missiles. This has raised the alert level within the People's Liberation Army. A former colonel of the Chinese Air Force admitted that Beijing urgently needs to review its defensive weak points, because even major powers can be surprised by massive low-cost attacks. There they are then, all the attacks that happened with these drones against Russia in recent days, targeting the refineries. And well, the same goes for Iran, even though they said their drones were destroyed. I don't know how much of that is true. In the end, it turned out that wasn't the case. Their drones became very effective. They didn't have that many, but they became very effective. China is also going to accelerate its offensive capability with hypersonic missiles, J-20 fighter jets, and stealth bombers similar to the United States B-2S. And since the conflict in the Middle East showed that defense is still the real Achilles heel of countries, analysts in Taiwan also believe that Beijing could apply the combined strategy, which are high-tech precision attacks, along with giant swarms of cheap drones capable of saturating air defenses. And the scenario which is the most feared in the Taiwan Strait, obviously, it would be an invasion backed by thousands of drones, rockets, and missiles trying to destroy the critical infrastructure before a military landing.
Well, let's move on to another topic. Let's talk about something else or something more about this.
Well, basically a topic, the main lesson for Beijing, and I think it should be for all countries, is that modern wars are not just about having super expensive, super powerful weapons, but also about having low-cost weapons. So you can make hundreds of thousands of...
If you can overwhelm the system exactly, let's move on to other important matters as well. France sends, as we've already mentioned, the Charles de Gaulle, but also Macron, well, kind of hesitates, right? Like there's...
Macron, queremos creer en ti, pero no se puede.
No se puede. Macron rules out sending military forces, but warned that France is prepared for an escalation. Well, he believes that these are not military forces. The Charles de Gaulle, well, it kind of turns around, but from far away according to reports. So aren't they trying to open up the scenario? Also today it was said that a destroyer called the Dragon will go, not the Dragon from the United Kingdom. It'll stay in this area. It won't even reach selection. Well, that's nothing, honestly. It's nothing either because, I mean, how was that going to help you? No, absolutely nothing. They say they're going to be there so that in case it's necessary, they can operate, but it's not very clear. And besides, with a really harsh warning at the end, that if they get involved, they're going to be attacked too. Supposedly people aren't listening. They've already gotten really intense confronting the the British and the French. But anyway, that's Macron's message, right? Macron basically stirring things up a bit too.
Well, he says they never controlled the deployment, but who knows who actually said it? It wasn't. Pero que están preparados. And it's strange, isn't it? Because a few days ago we saw Macron saying, no Europeans, we lack self-esteem. This, yes, we all can. Yes, we can. Now he says, no, I didn't say that. But yes, we can, but no, I didn't say that.
See, his wife slapped him hard when he got home. What did you say? Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, yes, they do agree as always. The truth is that on this topic, Europe really is a bit boring because they always say the same thing. That the strait is already being freed. No, that it's already being freed. Well, yes, but obviously it won't be done alone. No.
Right. Let's move on to other important matters as well. Trinidad and Tobago are reporting that there is a hydrocarbon spill affecting Venezuela. The hydrocarbon spill, according to what is being said, the Minister of Energy of Trinidad and Tobago, Rodal Molinal said today. By the way, there is no visible hydrocarbon spill coming from Venezuela, and they claim, well, that it is causing environmental damage in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes.
Well, it's that Venezuela says that Trinidad and Tobago have a spill, but well, the Minister of Energy of Trinidad and Tobago says that this spill is not visible, that it comes from their land, and well, that Venezuela has been claiming that it is causing them harm. They say that there have been follow-up inspections done by drones and boats, which indicated that they have not seen any oil spill on the surface of the water. We'll have to wait and see. Many NGOs have been monitoring this, so let's see what they report, since Venezuela notices something, but the source is unclear.
Well, that's how things stand. By the way, there's a message from Vladimir Putin that caught my attention today. Let's listen to it. But it's a message that has to do with Europe. Let's listen to what he says about Europe and the United States. I mean, does it really apply there? Let's listen to it. This is, I imagine, the context of yesterday's meeting.
It was for May 9th.
They promised help and started to encourage confrontation with Russia, which continues to this day. I think this is coming to an end, but in any case, it's something serious.
Well, what is he referring to?
To begin with, he says that the war with Ukraine is about to end. I don't know how, other than that, they're going to lose. But besides that, he says it's almost over. This war with Ukraine, he keeps insisting that the West is the one that has, let's say, encouraged Ukraine to start this war, even though it was Russia who invaded the country. I don't know where he gets that from, but anyway, he keeps going with this story, this narrative he just makes up himself.
And meanwhile, well, Moscow is demanding explanations from Armenia because, let's see, Armenia is supposed to be or had historically been close to Putin, the Russian president. And suddenly, Armenia invites Zelensky. And besides Zelensky, while in Armenia, makes strong criticisms of Russia. So, well, obviously they didn't like this at all. This was one of the things that analysts have been talking about the most lately. De tema geopolítico. Even, well, gente dentro de los blogueros, Russians have said, hey, we've already lost everything. I mean, even our closest allies. Those who used to always side with Vladimir Putin are now siding with Europe and with Zelensky. I mean, Zelensky has become a figure who, not only in these past months, has gained ground, but now they're even selling weapons. They're already positioning themselves as a pretty powerful figure in Europe. And even though they're not yet accepted into the European Union or NATO, they're already seen as a military power that will be key in a potential future war. Well, with Russia.
Well, also remember that a few days ago there was a meeting of European countries in Armenia. It's a clear message that they're no longer interested in having anything to do with Russia. And well, Russia is criticizing the meeting. In fact, the other day they brought up the same thing they keep saying over and over again. They should do a survey with the people of Armenia to see if they really want to belong to Europe or to Russia. I mean, it's gonna start just like it did with Georgia, like it did with Crimea, like it did before. It repeats the same pattern.
And, well, speaking of patterns, this is the president of Armenia. What is he talking about?
Mexico. Here, he looks like a Morena candidate, yes, or from a party here in Mexico.
Partido. ¿Qué partido? But yes, the one from the party. Which party? Which party? From which party? Which party?
Is it in Armenia? Right now in this video, he's arguing with the people. Remember that Armenia used to have, well, it had this area called Lower Karabakh, which is in Azerbaijan. Many problems arose until everyone left. Russia became disorganized and didn't help.
We have to remember that they had something like NATO, like an agreement between what was Armenia and Russia. When the problem started, Russia didn't help. So they say there's no reason. Why do we want this? That's also why Armenia turns away, right?
Because yes, well, the thing is that in this place there was a group of people that we basically gave it away to them. Azerbaijan, Karabakh. But we have to remember that, yes, maybe they lost that territory, but they have achieved peace. He said the current peace is impressive, and they are now working on projects with Azerbaijan. And having a neighbor you get along with means your country can grow economically.
Okay, let's use it. Let's use it. They say
That. We've lost land, but this land has been ours. Explain it just to me because it's been ours. I don't want to speak ill of those who are no longer here, but let's say under the control of some generals who used to plant wheat there. For example, let's suppose that's why it was ours, because it was ours. Explain to me, why did we build a school there, a kindergarten? We were going to build a factory. We lived there naturally because in what sense was it ours? Wasn't it ours?
what are they? It wasn't ours. It wasn't ours. It wasn't ours. Well, saying, let's see. Let's look at the future. We're not going to see. It's the future. And now, let's stop focusing on that little piece, since it was never going to bring us peace, right? Basically, they're always going to be on the verge of war constantly. And, well, that's how it is, right? This is possibly one of those. I don't know how much Trump influenced it or not, but in this case, at least this is peace, right? In that sense,
Let's say he has to sign.
no, he has to sign. He had to. The point is that it's working. No sé, no? This is that you had the, I don't know, right? It's the one above. It was wrong. Well, let's move on to others.
Armenia and Macedonia, we skipped it. Politician.
Let's move on to other important matters. What else do we have over there? What other things are there?
Did you already mention about, do you remember that there are 2 missing soldiers? Yes, in Morocco, in the sea, in Moroccan waters. Supposedly they're doing an exercise in the south, right? South of Morocco, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, in the west of Morocco, east.
And they get lost. Well, 2 always get lost because this isn't the first time we've talked about this. 2 always get lost because if one falls, another one jumps in to help the one who fell, right? Or whatever happened, there's always an extra one who jumps in to support the other. The thing is, today, even though there have been searches, rescue drills, and all that all week, today the body of one of the missing soldiers was found in Morocco. This happened during the training exercise we mentioned. His name is First Lieutenant Lamont Kenny Jr. K Jr. was one of the 2 soldiers who disappeared just over a week ago in the waters of the southern coast of Morocco, near the Cap Drop training area, according to the statement released by the United States Army. And right now, the search for the second soldier is still ongoing. Army officials indicated that the search for the second service member, whose identity has not yet been shared, is ongoing. They know it, but they are not sharing it. According to the Army, so far more than 1,000 American and Moroccan military personnel and civilians have participated in the search for this second soldier.
He is the one they find lifeless. They find this client, Lieutenant K, lifeless. Lieutenant K.
Okay,
Well, that's how things are. Obviously, it's a serious matter. Yo. Let's hope they find the second person soon, and hopefully they're okay. But for now, there's still no information about how it happened. Yo, esta circunstancia.
What is it? According to the preliminary report they presented today, these 2 soldiers were part of a group of military personnel who were on an excursion to watch the sunset. When a soldier known for not being able to swim fell into the sea, and I find it strange that they don't know how to swim, especially at that level. And well, defense officials state that the second missing soldier jumped in the water to help him because he already knew that he couldn't swim. And at least it's part of the protocol, but he was hit by a. And well, other soldiers tried to rescue them, but they couldn't.
That's awful. That's awful. Well, then.
Bueno, sí, I'm not sure if he's the one who can't swim or the other one. It's unclear to me.
Well, then that's how things are. Let's look at other matters, other important topics as well. Well, let's go. Let's go. Let's get to the comments now. Today is Mother's Day. Mother's Day. A day for all the grandmothers, for the mothers. Now, well, huge greetings, a big hug to everyone. Also in the United States, it happens to be today as well.
Yes, well, in the United States, it's always the second Sunday of May, and well, it just so happens that the two dates happen to fall on the same day. Yeah.
Look, well, big greetings to Dad from Nueva. Is there any other country that celebrates May 10th?
Someone is telling you it's worldwide. It's worldwide. I'm not really sure, honestly. But anyway, greetings to Aneri Salazar. Greetings to dads from Galveston. Greetings to Abel. How are you?
Also, greetings to Rosalinda Moreno and also to Armando Antonio.
And yes, the crazy ones from the Iranian military guard are asking for trouble. Says, greetings, Armando Antonio. Greetings, Armando. How have you been?
Very good. Look, here it is. The countries that celebrate it are, it says, mainly Mexico, El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, Qatar,
Guatemala, by the way, there's a case.
United Arab Emirates, India, Malaysia, Oman, Pakistan, and Singapore, in other places, in other countries. The celebration focuses on honoring mothers with gatherings, gifts, and school festivities. Well, there's the list of countries. There are other countries that celebrate it on different days, while some countries keep the date fixed on May 10th. Most Latin American countries like Colombia, Venezuela, Peru, Chile, Ecuador, and the United States celebrate Mother's Day on the second Sunday of May 10th. So was it just a coincidence both days happened today?
There you go.
What were you saying, Guatemala?
In Guatemala, they have someone who was on the antivirus cruise, and right now they're being monitored.
Well, we'll have to stay alert. I didn't know about that case. Look, there's the one from France, there's the one from the United Kingdom, and the way they go to take care of it on the island is spectacular. And then there's this one from Guatemala, which is also interesting. We'll stay alert there. That light comes in like a state. Looks very good. Martin Novak's father asks how true it is that Maria also can't return to Venezuela because of Trump's instructions. Look, I really don't know about that, but she has said that she's going to return. Well, I mean, Maria Corina, yes. She hasn't said so far, as far as I know. She hasn't said she's going to cancel or that she's not going to go. And she says,
American soldiers bond in such a way that their battalion becomes their family and they take care of each other as if they were brothers. Even when they're already home, they look out for each other and stay in touch. It's a very strong bond, says MT. Yes, greetings, MT. Francisco Arcisa, Dance to the Mouse, Cowboy, all the moms cry. Hey, they play them another song. Hey, I think it's really worn out. Greetings, Felicia. Sofia, say hola, guys. Happy Mother's Day. Thank you very much, Felicia. Same to you. Greetings to Sebas. Here in Peru, we're celebrating. Also, greetings to Jose Mendez. The one from Guatemala says Papagato was worse. Greetings to Jose Mendez.
Greetings, Jose Mendez. How have you been? Very good. It's my turn. Fidel Botelo says, Happy Mother's Day. Astrid.
Greetings.
Greetings. Hey, Sebas. How have you been?
Hello, Antonio Rodriguez and Pepe Yeso. My contact says the antivirus still hasn't arrived yet, according to Antonio. Regards, Antonio.
Greetings, Antonio. How have you been?
Okay. Very good. Greetings, Silvia, and greetings to all the moms in Argentina. It's the third Sunday of October. Ah, that's what they say, the third Sunday of October, okay?
Greetings.
Hello, greetings to Neri, greetings also to Rosalinda. Well, we greet you to Auri Carrera. She says many are worried about this war when death itself, disguised as a virus, will soon strike worldwide. Greetings, Auri.
Greetings.
Greetings. MT says France hasn't won a war in a long time, but wants to convince Europe to unite to strengthen itself and create a joint military force. Yes.
Greetings to the Controsos. Greetings to Auri. I greet all the Controsos. Well, I greet all the Controsos to Auri and the Controsos Carrera. Well, let's see if it shows up. Well, who knows? This is number 100. What else?
Cheers. Greetings to Martin, who says, how true is it? Greetings to Nova's dad.
Greetings all the way to Houston to Vidal the King. How are you, Leonardo Cucurucho? Greetings.
Greetings, Anika Gospel. How are you? To Miguel Martin as well. We also have Martin here. Greetings to Steve Pepe, the archived UFO videos. I'm not pressuring myself. Many people outside the government only release less important ones. NASA and others have better videos.
Of course, yes. There have been better leaks after the leaks. This one, yes. That's the question about Cuba, says Cucurucho. How are things going with Cuba? Pues traen broncas. They still have the same problems. Nothing has changed much. Well, as for that, there's still a lack of food and gasoline is still in short supply, even though that oil from Russia arrived, yes, but well, there are still problems, right? And every day, you see drones from the United States flying from Florida to Cuba. They go back and forth making rounds. I mean, because we follow all these sites, what's it called?
Of aerial analysis and all that kind of thing.
But they do military analysis every day. There are movements. Yes. Greetings to Isabel Teixeira. How are you?
Greetings to Carmen Lares. Greetings, Carmen Tuvayo, who says, hello, good evening. Greetings to Pepe Anceres for the news updates. Today I'm going back to the beginning. Greetings to Yayo from the future. Also, greetings to Yoyi King. How are you? Hasta Digna here, she says, I think God is doing with Iran the same thing he did with Pharaoh. He is hardening their hearts so they will be eliminated. Oh, Digna, how intense greetings. Digna to Edicio Sendeño. How are you? Also, greetings to Adine and greetings from Santiago, Chile. Greetings, Don Perfecto. How are you?
Muy buena, don Perfecto. ¿Qué onda? Nova. Which state is going with some because of zeitgeist, investigating the United States Mint because they're buying gold from drug trafficking, and there's a lot of talk about crypto. Wow, that's intense. Hey, how are you doing? How have you been? He says. Just when the crazy Korean finished making the most expensive weapons, now it turns out that cheap drones are more effective, says Armando Antonio. Well, it's just that I think it's both things. I mean, having expensive weapons is useful. It's like your final move in an all-out war. But if you don't have big weapons, like Iran doesn't have them, or Ukraine doesn't have them, I mean, with a lot of small, cheap weapons, right? You can at least have a sustained war for a long time, right? But, well, no, obviously, a big weapon is for deterrence. Small weapons are for real. War, basically. That's the difference, right? That's how I see it. At least I don't know how you see it. Christian says, greetings to Tijuana. How have you been? Hello, Danilo, writing from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. He says the only one who wins is China because they don't invest in anything and they benefit the most from all this, says Danilo. Greetings, Danilo. Very good. Yesenia, how are you? How have you been? Luz says from Palma. Very good. Greetings over there. She says, did you see the news that the president sent billions of dollars to Cuba? Yes, it's a topic that's generating a lot of controversy here in the country. Since the previous government, a significant amount of money was sent. With the issue of welfare and all these matters, that's how it is. The situation is kind of shady because the reasoning behind it isn't clear. I mean, there always has to be an explanation, like why. I mean, I'm saying, okay, fine, but why? I mean, why? How do you justify sending such a large amount of money? And those controversies, well, they're really strange, aren't they? Honestly, right? I mean, in exchange for what? Because obviously it's in exchange for something. But for what? That's the big question there. He says, who else is here? Silvia, how have you been? Very good. No, it's not just being nice, I don't know, intelligence or what are they giving out there, right?
Well, greetings to Christy.
What's up, Christy? Christy, what's up? He says, greetings also to Gabriel Duran, to Fernandez. He says, the world thirsty for oil will end up drowning in it. Do you think regular gas will reach 30 Pepe? So far, it's at 30 Fernandez for regular gas.
For regular gas. Who knows?
Because they really are giving it a strong subsidy. Otherwise, it would already be at 29. The difference has always been about the same.
Very little, yes, just tiny bit. The thing is, premium is the one that's almost at 30, right?
The one that's at 30, it's at 29.930.
Yeah.
So 30 greetings to Armando Antonio. How are you? Also here is Neri Salazar from Galveston. Almaric, how are you, Almaric?
Al-Malik, how have you been? Rubos, very good, says Nova. Honestly, I feel that this aid to Cuba is just money laundering. Yes, of course. It would be better if they gave it to the mothers searching for their missing loved ones or to pay their debt for medicine from the United States, says Nova. Well, that's an interesting comment.
Greetings to Daniela 2000. How are you, Daniela?
Greetings, Daniela. How have you been?
Greetings. Let's see who else we've got here. Ochenek, how are you? Ochenek.
What's up, Chinik? Well, look, to everyone, to the 507 who are here, 518, thank you very much. And I ask you for a little favor. If you can give it a like, that's what I'm asking, or a dislike if you want. But participate, right? Share your thoughts on how things are, what you think about what's happening in the world. Hey, could this be payment for drug trafficking? Cuba has been a distribution channel from Colombia before, says Martin Gutierrez. How are you, Martin? Greetings.
Martin Nova says, and Samuel Garcia is being investigated by the FKR since many contracts were given to companies belonging to his family and friends, and the acquisition of a huge piece of land is also being investigated.
Ah, yes. Yeah.
Is the land in San Pedro?
They've reported it here and investigated it very thoroughly. Yes, yes, yes. Exactly. I think it must be that one. It must be that one. Yes.
Super cheap? They sold it to him?
Nada. I mean that's worth a lot. I mean it's worth thousands of millions or something like that. The I mean the report, the investigation, they had it. Código Magenta had it. I don't know if there are other media outlets that focus heavily on political investigation. And it has some serious topics. Don Dorian Eric says, how are you? He says, better. Like a Pepe, he says, and those in the chat, quiet with your lips. That's right, Don Dorian, greetings. How have you been? It's nice to see you. Angie, how are you? Neri Salazar says, happy day to your wife for the day, and greetings, Neri. Greetings, Neri. How have you been? And thank you.
Best wishes to your wife.
Yes, yes. Greetings to all the moms. What did you do, right? To the moms who are here with us, what did you do? How did you spend the day? Well, I hope you are all doing well. Pepe says, and this says, good evening, Pepe. How do you see the war with Iran? Pablo says, how have you been, Pablo? Well, like all wars, right? Unnecessary. But in the end, this war, at least, well, what it was supposed to bring is, well, peace for the Iranians. I mean, in the sense that the Iranian people would get rid of the Ayatollahs. But I think it's the opposite. I think it's actually helping the Ayatollahs to hold on and become even stronger, unfortunately. It seems like maybe the calculation was wrong. That's what I see. That the calculation wasn't done well. They could have relied more on intelligence. In Toca, to see what would happen with the people. Because people were gaining momentum. They were protesting more and more. And now, well, not anymore, right? There are two things that catch my attention this week. This weekend, a report was given where they told Netanyahu this is the moment to finish off the Ayatollahs, in other words, to end that regime. But at the same time, Trump is given the opposite message, that he should negotiate. And you can't, I suppose that maybe this can be linked to the conflict, meaning that there's nothing to negotiate over. Y pues, inteligencia, at least he says, well, that if possible, the regime system could collapse. That's what they might be betting on, right? That's what could happen in the coming days. It's a bet on total conflict, basically, on finishing what was started in that war. It could be, yes, it's possible, right?
Greetings to Leonardo Scudero. He says, man, I wonder if you happen to know anything more about the satellite that has like a spider that can build objects with carbon fiber in space from China.
Yes. Okay, we are going to look for more information about that topic. We did mention it. Yes, we did mention it, but not in depth. There isn't that much information as far as I know, but there is some. If you've noticed, well, basically, there's an almost daily technology section, and we want to make it more intentional with a playlist and everything, right? So that especially when it comes to the most innovative things, right? Not so much that we're a channel for product announcements, not about cell phones, but more about what's innovative, right? Like the other day when we were looking at that LED TV that folds up like a giant accordion, right? Stuff like that, right? The very latest, what's advancing. Today during the live streams, we brought some really crazy research like this one where, I don't know, that you could generate another hand. Like, yes, the body, the human being.
Que nos digan salamandrinos.
Yes. The human being has the ability to reconstruct the whole hand. What the scientists who discover this say is that we heal so quickly that we don't let the body form the hand, but the body, you could form the bone, everything, bone, muscle.
Yeah, everything. Cut off my hand. That's it, I think. You'll start small, first with a finger.
Ian, no, but imagine, I didn't know this, no. But also, that's what they say, that they could.
Nah.
Like what happens with salamanders is that it doesn't close 100%, but it creates something that's not, it's not really skin, but it creates, it has a name. It's not well known. It creates something where, that's amazing.
The answer is Karina.
Karen.
Greetings, Karina.
So it creates something,
A thing.
something that exists before formation. So everything forms and the whole hand takes shape. So these scientists propose or believe that we have the programming for the hand to form again, but the wound closes, so then it can't be rebuilt. So they say, what would happen if that preliminary structure was generated, the one that kind of closes but doesn't fully close, so that the hand has time to form? I mean, these are the beginnings of a future where we might be able to, well, to awaken, because it's a human and animal trait that's dormant. But yes, it's there. It's just dormant. So, I mean, maybe it sounds a bit far-fetched right now, but just imagine if you could awaken that. I can't wait for the second season now that Caribe is here. Let's see if he knows about this mushroom series.
Who knows? I haven't seen.
I haven't seen or checked anything.
Me neither.
Greetings to Rigoberta, to Rigoberto who says hello. I hadn't been in the live streams for a few days, but I always watch them later. Greetings to Cucurucho, who says the president of Mexico is afraid of the Cuban dictatorship because they know her secrets and she owes them favors. That's what Cucurucho says. Greetings.
Greetings. Well, there is information. Yes, about everything.
It's just that they had this guy from the United States who did them favors. Yes, for example, an American citizen. Obviously, I think he was actually born in Cuba and worked as a spy. They sent him golden gifts and now want to revoke his U.S. citizenship. I mean, it's all a whole act.
He doesn't have his spies, let's say.
They didn't learn much from the bear. Greetings to Christian Reyes. He says, I'm sending my like. Thank you. I miss it on Sundays. Blessings, Christian. We're here every day. Greetings, greetings, greetings to Bautista, who was sent money from Mexico. It's the same as the government sending money to the Haitian government. This could be tied to money laundering and drug trafficking. Greetings to Nika Gospel, and yes, the sun is already gone, but still with mineral ice spray for muscles to deal with that tough situation. I didn't understand Nika, but I'm glad you're happy. That's it. Greetings. Greetings to Nisa. Samsung will leave the Chinese market because it's difficult to compete in the cell phone, tablet, and electronic sectors that our Chinese friends dominate.
Greetings to and to withdraw, which is the purpose that must be fulfilled. We're going to be doing reports outside more often because we find a lot of crazy things. The other day, remember what we found at a mall?
Since it's complicado.
That car is really crazy. I mean, I'm not a fan of sports cars. Honestly, I prefer off-road stuff and things like that. I don't know, I'm just not a fan. I rarely like a sports car, but that car looks good. Honestly, it looks cool. I mean, it looks good. I get why the CEO of Ford has a Xiaomi car because, well, it's really cool. I mean, you see it and you think this is really cool. It looks like what you imagine a sports car should be. That's the thing about it. It's crazy and it goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 2.3 seconds. It was something and it's very fast, which is why all the fans of this type of car love it. And it's already here. Well, I don't know, exhibition, whatever you want to call it, but there it was.
There it is. For the sale, just scan the QR code and they'll handle the paperwork. Greetings, Antonio Rodriguez, who says, the Fed does not rule out 2 interest rate hikes this year. We're about to run for it, says Antonio. He also says greetings to Ben and also greetings to, says Cucurucho. Pep. Is it true that the Cuban dictatorship helped bring the left to power in Mexico? They helped and supported them, and that's why they're in power today. The president wants to help Cuba.
No. Let them try to help. Of course, I don't doubt it at all, but they're not a factor. I mean, no, they're not a factor. Not at that level.
I think you more. The issue of populism. That's what comes next.
Organized crime. Although also, look, organized crime supports all the parties because it's not just crime. There are many groups and one group supports some and another group supports others. I mean, it's a split, but no. I mean, yes. I would be very surprised if they said, look, this party is spotless. It's clean. It has no relation to organized crime. I'd say, oh, really? Which one, right? I mean, honestly, you don't know. They've always had some kind of connection or something. And I'm saying this happens at all levels, maybe just once, but still. It has a big influence, which is why it's significant when Trump says it. Well, it's just that organized crime is really involved. I mean, it's really involved. I mean, it's not like they make all the decisions now, but they are involved. And in certain interests, they impose certain rules that didn't exist before. Yeah. Well, there used to be business people, let's say imperfect and whatever you want. But there were business people who had their real estate companies or construction companies and did government projects at one point. Yes, but now it's been happening in many states, not all of them. But in many states, this thing has been happening where the ones building the houses, I mean, the infrastructure, are organized crime groups. So they give the money to them. Just imagine that. I mean, that's crazy. That can't happen. And the problem is that, well, it's something that investigative journalists see. The intelligence agencies in the United States will also see it. And so will the intelligence agencies in Europe and any other country. They're going to notice it. And to tell you, well, it's this. But I mean, how am I going to, when companies come in where it says this one comes in, I don't know what the one from Korea is called here. I mean, all the companies come in. They don't just come in and that's it. But they also do an intelligence check and check how things are. If they see security, if they see that, yes, there are laws being followed and so on, then they more or less come in. I mean, it's positive that companies are coming in, but if you notice, they don't go into every state. They go into some states and with a lot of rules and everything because, well, they know that it's not that easy either. And there's a big advantage to being close to the United States from a business point of view.
He says, Emilio, how are you? Emilio, he says, hi, after a while I got a PC. Ha ha ha, greetings.
Greetings. How have you been? Hello, Cleo. What's up? Is this Miguel? Hello, Emilio. The lifespan of an electric vehicle beyond the battery, says Emilio. It depends on the car, but it's very, very long.
Or yes.
Much more than that of a normal car. Why? Because it has fewer parts, because it has more durability. Come on, the wear and tear is much less on an electric car than on a gasoline car. I'm saying this to clarify since there's a lot of misinformation. Some people think electric cars won't last, but that's not true. What is true is that at some point you'll have to change the battery. I mean, at some point, but that's after many years. I'm saying this because we've researched the topic a lot. We switched from gasoline to a plug-in hybrid, which is basically like having a fully electric car because that's how we use it. And this one. And well, we came across a lot of stories from people who have had this for many, many years. In fact, we've come across these Nissan cars, the Leaf, which was the first one to arrive here. And they're already old, but they're still running. That's not the issue. It's obviously still a big fear because a lot of people have had gasoline cars all their lives and not everyone wants to make the switch. And usually their cars already demand a bit more from them. When it comes to knowing about technology, I mean, not being afraid of technology, because if you are, then it really gets difficult. It's also a matter of taste, right? Because gasoline cars are also really nice. People who know mechanics love it because they can fix things. But most of us who don't know, or the majority, feel differently. Well, you say, hey, whether it's one or the other, mechanics have to fix it because I'm not going to mess with it, brother. So it's the same in that regard.
Greetings to Sector, who says the series is called Como se era su efecto. Yes, it's really good. Greetings, Armando Antonio. What did I do? I like Macron's comment about France's preparation about France. Haha, they ask him, how do you defend yourself from the woman? Haha. Greetings to Francisco. It said, almost all scientific advances are used for weaponry, almost all of them. Greetings also to, bueno, come on, who knows what he's talking about? And just greetings to Luis Beltero, and also greetings to Anika, to Marcela. Yes, Riquelme is also around here. He's not going, he says. And did you see that Chapo hinted in his request that they check his new case? And is it? He said the cartel was already there when he arrived. Sounds like he was just the face where all the blame fell. I mean, like he was the scapegoat, you know? Isn't that right? That's why he was asking to be sent back to Mexico. So they bring him back here to Mexico and he escapes again. That's not going to happen. They already told him, no, that he can't. So he has to stay.
Gracias. Happy day to all the moms listening to the news. Happy greetings, Isa. Thank you very much.
He says greetings, he says no, and it's like everyone knows the owner of the cartels is the Mexican government itself and businessmen from the United States. Just like someone sells oranges, they go to negotiate sales on the other side of the world and buy weapons. He says it's not about help.
That's right. We're not going to you. It's me. From what I understand, this isn't just a United States or Mexico problem. It's a global issue with many connections. And the geographic aspect for Mexico and the United States, because we're the consumers, obviously, that makes us maybe the most visible places. But here it's a problem that involves Colombia, that involves Afghanistan, that involves Syria, that is involved. I mean, they're deeply involved in all of this and many others that we won't even find out about. And so, I mean, it's not a problem of just one country. It's a global problem. It's a problem that has to be seen that way, right? Isn't it? Plus, Interpol also has a really small budget with, well, a lot of limitations, let's say. So it's complicated. I mean, vivamente. Some very interesting things have been achieved, for example, in cybersecurity and certain areas, but these groups operate on a massive scale. Impressive. And the international security agencies, well, they're always pretty limited in the way they operate. Well, let's continue.
Gram. Guys, remember that we're on WhatsApp, we're on Telegram, we're on Facebook and Instagram.
Thank you very much. Once again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms. It's an honor to have you here. And of course, obviously, here we are. I want to thank this person who is the best mom in the world. And, well, thank you so much to all the moms who are obviously amazing. And thank you for being here. A big hug to everyone. Hasta la. And, well, we keep talking. We keep discussing what's happening in the world. See you later. Until the...
Your regular programming. Thank you for tuning in to The Truth. This is Pepe MV.
The truth is intense, the unusual is real. Here we analyze it. Global perspective. Don't miss out. Tune into the Pepe en Vivo channel. Taking over the airwaves. Pepe and Astrid telling it like it is. Raw journalism. Respect matters.
Turn on the alert. Don't lose track until next time.
Yes, sir. We're moving on. Subscribe.